Is it okay for the government to access the bank accounts of benefit claimants? We're taking your calls on this right now. Officials have been asked to explore options for the government to mirror the so-called open banking system, which is used by landlords and lenders. It would allow them to check a person's bank statement to see what savings they have, to see whether or not they are fully in need of the benefits they're claiming. The government's hoping this will allow them to crack down on money lost to benefit fraud, but critics say it's too invasive. So, is it necessary, Yasmin?
No, it is too invasive, and it's all part of Labour's drift to the right, isn't it? They want to be punishing the poorest and the least able to defend themselves. I'd be very happy if the same policy applied to wealthy people or well-off people who find ways of not paying the taxes that they owe the nation. I would be very happy if it applied to everybody, all of us, okay? And all our bank accounts were accessible. That would be fair. But to pick on those on benefits when those who are dodging taxes are getting away with it is unfair and unjust.
Benefit fraud is on the rise.
So is tax dodging, let me tell you.
At the moment, you have to supply the account for which, into which the benefit will be paid. Clearly, that's not enough. I mean, these days you can have 12 bank accounts, and you can set them up in an afternoon.
I'm really tired of the way... I knew this would happen. 3 months ago, I said, we will soon be getting stories of benefit scroungers. Because ever since Rachel Reeves has set herself these targets and whatever, I said the next group to suffer will be... I said this 3 months ago, and it's popular with some people.
What's the danger? What is it that's being lost by somebody that supplies...
We all have the right to privacy.
What is it that needs to be kept private? I think that's what I want to track down.
Exactly. Would you want your bank account? I wouldn't want my bank account to be looked at by the government, actually.
I don't know.
I would not.
Benefits, I don't know. Charlie, what do you think?
Well, if I'm applying to the state for help, or if I'm applying for, if I was renting a house, you can, in certain circumstances, you have shadow accounts where landlords and housing can see your bank account to make sure that you're going to be able to A, put down a deposit, and A, keep up with repayments. So it's not uncommon. And I think, the amount that is spent in the Department of Work and Pensions, it is... we spend more on that department than we do on policing, schools, and justice, I think, combined. So it's a huge department that spends a lot of money. Benefit fraud, as you say, Matt, is on the rise. So something's got to be done to tackle those that are abusing the system.
I mean, the way that information is used, it's a public body. It's not your landlord. It's it's the government. So presumably open to freedom of information.
And they're going to look at whether you've saved money. Well, I think a little bit of saving when you are on benefits and you're at that end of society is a good thing.
Yes, but there's a threshold past which you don't need benefits.
Yeah, but I think this is what I mean. They never, ever look at the well-off, OK? It's always punished those who are voiceless. They have no power. Whereas we all know how the richest in this country, and even people who are doing quite well like me. My accountant is forever telling me how I can pay less tax, okay? And because there's so much leeway given to people like me and those above, that, that's perfectly okay.
Okay.
But we keep on punishing the poorest.
Let's take some calls on this. Steve is in Aberdeen. Steve, is it acceptable to have open banking, to open the books completely to the government if you want to claim benefits?
Yes.
OK, what's your situation yourself, Steve?
Well, exactly that. Unfortunately, I'm on long-term sick, and I have the pleasure of receiving benefits from the taxpayer. I take on board what your other panel members there saying about the tax dodgers and so forth. Yeah, that's okay. However, the element of no disrespect, the thing that bothers me is when I have to go and be assessed every so often, and excuse me, I put this, is I feel like I'm being interrogated by the Gestapo.
Okay.
Now, my medical's there, but with all due respect, if I've got more money than what I need, that should go back into the kitty. And there are people that dodge. There are people that state that they are as bad as they are because the assessment isn't, and no disrespect to anybody, and I mean this sincerely, unless you actually walk the walk, you should not talk the talk.
Okay, Steve.
No disrespect, people that are on benefits can dodge it because if you're going for an assessment, it's only for an hour.
Steve, you seem to be quite happy then with the government seeing what's in your finances. You don't have, what Yasmin was saying is that it's an intrusion of your privacy. But it sounds like the PIP assessment is much more intrusive already.
Well, at the end of the day, I think that, no disrespect, going through the process and, again, walking the walk, that means that respectfully, if I'm walking the walk of doing the assessments, it should be one assessment for all benefits that are applicable.
Do you think that would change? Do you think that would change? If there was this openness, it would change the way that people look at anybody on benefits, because they've been through a process where that suspicion of having more funds than you're revealing would be stripped away.
I don't think that goes far enough if that's what they're trying to do. If they're trying to take off the... And I appreciate, again, what your panel member saying, that the poorest get penalised and so forth. But with all due respect, there are people that are on benefits that technically don't need it.
Yeah. Okay.
Or elements of it. Now, what I mean by that is, because you may or may not know, I'm on the basics of ESA. If I can't do certain things like self-care, I get an extra benefit. If I can't do X, Y, and Z, I get extra benefits added on, so you get more added to it. If I can't validate that 100%, I'm not eligible for it. There are people that get add-ons, like, for example, if you've got a dog and you go for daily living allowance, being PIP, you automatically get 10 points.
Yeah. Listen, Steve, thank you for your call. We're going to take a call from Jo. She's in Sheffield. Jo, do you think this is a necessary step so that it is completely open and transparent when people are applying for benefits?
Hello, good morning, particularly Yasmin, my hero. I'm confused about this message. I'm not sure what the Labour government want to achieve by it. There's already a cut-off point. You're allowed 6,000 in savings. I don't. So that's it. It's always been there. It's, as far as I knew, they would always check. If they want to check my bank account, they'll just find a huge overdraft.
But I think that's the problem. It's not one bank account, and at the moment they have access to the account into which the benefits are placed, and it's very easy for people to have other places to hide away funds, which would invalidate their benefits and mean they wouldn't receive them.
Oh, I genuinely don't know. I wouldn't know about that because I've only got my one bank account. But surely, as Yasmin's just highlighted, there are ways for a lot of people to secret money off into different bank accounts and not pay taxes that are very wealthy. What kind of message is Liz Kendall trying to send out? Like, Yasmin, don't gip, please, but she's sending out the kind of rhetoric that you'd expect from Suella Braverman. Some people on disability benefits are taking the mickey. What about changing the rhetoric? There are some able-bodied people that are abusing the system.
There are plenty of people at both ends of the spectrum. I don't really understand why it has to be either or. Why can't we chase tax avoiders at one end and also stamp out benefit fraud? I mean, that maybe it would be the combined message I'd want to hear, is to say, look, these are not... It's not an either or. They're not in competition with each other. Actually, this is money that's required to run the country.
We just need to stop horrible, divisive, nasty comments being made. And the last place I would expect them to come from is the Labour Party. Right. And that's from last week. I have officially left being a member of the Labour Party because I'm frankly appalled. Well,
you won't hear nasty, divisive comments here. Thank you, Jo, for your call. Charlie, I mean, we do hear that very often, don't we? It's like, well, look at them. And actually, these are two separate arguments. We need to unpick them.
Totally. And no one is saying that, people are happy to see tax dodgers or tax evaders or tax avoidance taking place. Of course they're not. And people should pay their fair share of tax. But when you're looking at that upper end, for example, if you change the tax system, well, there might be lots of people who are entrepreneurs, people that employ more people, that have their own business. They might end up up sticks and leaving.
Good. Good. If
well,
they don't want to pay proper let them go.
But it's not about.
We will survive.
This is the
we
point.
will survive.
But the key point I'm making is that those people are paying tax. Whether they're paying the full amount, that needs to be looked into, and that should happen. But they are still paying in. What you have at the bottom end, which is what we're talking about, if we're categorising it sort of top and bottom, is that there are people that are claiming benefits. They're taking out of the system when they shouldn't be doing it. So that's the difference.
Do you not think having this partial system at the moment, it seems to me a little bit naive that people will have one bank account and everything that they have will be in that account. If we open this up, doesn't it in some way like give benefits a different name? I've been through a process, I've shown everything I've got, therefore I'm receiving this honestly.
No, I think your previous idea was correct, that we should be aiming at both ends. Okay? That would appear to be fairer to me, that you're not just picking on one end. Okay, that you are also looking at, there's a story today in the papers alleging concern about taxes paid by Holly Willoughby's company, for example. We need everybody to be responsible and pay into the coffers so that we have a better society.
I just wonder if there might be people who are claiming benefits who would welcome this, because they would say, listen, you've seen everything I've got, and therefore the decision is yours. If you don't give me this money, you know everything about me, and actually it takes the responsibility away from me. Let's hear from Ian in Staffordshire. Ian, what do you think of this? Should we open the books if we want benefits?
Yes, I'm on various benefits, and I'm quite happy for the government to check my accounts anytime. There is, going back to your first caller, in 1 year, I had 3 different medicals by the Department of Work and Pensions. I don't know. See, that to me is wasting money. People, if they want to claim benefits, I know a lot of people who claim benefits and they just don't need to.
What would it give you, Ian, to know that the government had seen every bank account, every source of income, whatever it might be, and that they'd cleared that and still gave you benefits? What would that give you?
It would just give me the peace of mind that I'm honest and that the benefits I receive, because I was in the Air Force and I got medical discharge, it would just give me the peace of mind that I'm not fiddling the system. Some people think I am. I've been hit because people say I shouldn't be on a mobility scooter. And, it's just not nice. But this would put a way of saying, look, we've seen his bank statements, we know he deserves some money, and we're going to pay him it.
All right, listen, Ian, we wish you the very best with your journey, with your struggles, the things you're going through. Thank you for your call. Take another call. Ian's in North Ayrshire. Ian, what do you reckon? Open the books, show the government what you've got. That's the way to get benefits. What do you think?
Ian, what do you reckon? Open the books, show the government.
Oh, hello, Ian. You might have your TV up because I can hear myself coming back.
In principle, it's a good idea.
OK. Can you give me a bit more detail?
I think it's a good idea in principle, but Yasmin's point is well made. It should be at both ends. Most people now get benefit through a bank or some form or building society. But what you've got to question is the government departments, like for all the benefits, are they efficient enough to deal with this additional work?
Yeah.
Now, what I would say is that looking at everybody, there's more well-paid people trying to avoid
Yeah.
paying their clients' taxes properly than there is people clever enough to find money that should be paid in taxes. So the top end is well learned and cleverer than the people in the DHSS.
Okay. It's a point well made. Thank you so much, Ian. It seems like the conclusion to this is if you deal with the have-nots, you've also got to deal with the yachts. Get them both ends of that spectrum.